Good morning, everyone. How are you doing on this fabulous Saturday morning? I hope you'll take a moment to stop for a second and stop the scroll, and just kick back for a few minutes. Hang out with me, have a cup of coffee. It's Saturday morning. You're not in a rush unless you're watching me at work, uh, which then if you are, God love you. Mm. It's a beautiful day here in Dallas, Texas, and wherever you are, if you're watching me live, pop in the comments and say hello. I would love to greet you personally. And if this is your first time to ever catch me live right here, this is a little live stream feature that I've been doing for a while. It has changed names and iterations, but I love connecting with my friends right here on the social media platforms. So if this is your first time to see me here, welcome. My name is Renee Harden. I am an editor. I'm a writing coach. I'm a book coach. Um, I'm a teacher. Hopefully, amuse. Help you get your stories out there and told. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Sherry. How are you doing? Hello, my beautiful friend. I'm so grateful to have you here. Thanks so much for being here. Good morning, my sweet girl. How are you doing? So, if you would, guys, I'm going to take a minute because Facebook is a little wonky with these live stream things. And so I'm going to share this out so folks can join us. If you want to share, please do so and invite your friends to come and chat with us for a bit. How was your week? It was quite an interesting week, and I'll be sharing some stories here in the week that was. There's always stories going on around us, stories to inspire us, uh, stories to challenge us, stories to make us scratch our head and go, what? Because you know me, sometimes I read these things, oh, you guys, and I just have questions. You know me, I have questions with things that just don't seem quite right, and yet I don't get it. I don't get it. So anyway, let me take a moment here. I am going to share this video. I can find the link for it. Here we go. Going to share this to. Let me see if Facebook will let me share this. Um, Yeah, interesting how these algorithms work now. Have you noticed the changes to the Facebook app, by the way? I don't know if you've noticed the layout changes and the features. I think I'm going to do a live stream show on just the features of Facebook that have changed and what you can now do and what you can't do. And of course, how to curate your feed, make it a little cleaner so you can see stuff from the friends that you want to hear from and still keep up with others. But yeah, there's just this whole interesting update that Facebook has done. And again, guys, these live stream platforms are awesome because it's a chance for us to connect with each other and and talk and stay connected, right? Deepen friendships. So, good morning, Kelly. Good to see you here. Good to see you here, Kelly. Ah, you're looking beautiful. Look at that profile picture. I love that. Girl, your eyebrows are looking just so fine. Beautiful, Kelly. I love that. It just shows off your face so gorgeously. This week felt like a busy blur. Now on to the busy to your busy weekend. I get it. Guys, so much going on right now. So many cool things. We're gearing up for school to end soon. Folks are going to be going on summer vacation. We're going to be going on a family vacation soon. And so, just we continue to be blessed and have time to do these things, and especially now with things opening up a little bit. And if you've been vaccinated, you know the CDC now. And I kind of have questions because the CDC now said we don't have to wear masks if we are outside, but how are we going to know who's been vaccinated and who hasn't? We don't really know. And we're having to trust our fellow man to be responsible. So if you've been vaccinated, you know, use precautions, be safe. I'm personally going to still be wearing my mask in, enclosed places because we're not quite yet round the corner. We're further down the road than we were last year at this time. But let's make sure that we do. Listen, my mask has become almost like a blankie for me. I just wear it for my own protection. I'm really glad that the flu was almost non-existent this past season. So whatever we do, let's be safe and let's consider the welfare of our fellow man, woman, and child, right? So the fact that we've been vaccinated and our most of our about 40% of our country, I do believe the last numbers showed, have been vaccinated. So the cases are dropping, the hospitalizations are dropping. Um, you're vaccinated, but you're going to still be cautious. I agree, Kelly. We have to be. We have to be cautious because we don't want to see another spike of this. And Lord knows now that we see what's going on in India, I believe the nations that have extra vaccines, we need to help out the folks in India. They are now experiencing what we were experiencing last year. And because they are so densely populated and because they still have a caste system that exists there, there are going to be thousands of people that die that just go unaccounted for simply because. Plus, the masks are fashion now. Right. You have so many cute ones. I agree. I agree, Kelly. So many cute ones to go with our outfits, right? They're a fashion accessory. Who knew? So, whatever you do, if you're going to be traveling, if you're going to be taking vacations, travel is up now. People are going on vacations, they're planning vacations because the weather's getting warmer. We're getting antsy. We've been kind of locked down for a while. But use safety, guys, as you proceed. Use safety. Good morning, Miss Mary. How are you doing, my beautiful friend? Good to see you. Well, I am going to salute everyone today with my mug out of my collection. I have an extensive mug collection. This one says, oh, the glare is kind of strong. It says mission statement, drink coffee, make up stuff. And on the back of it, it has a quote from Jack London. You can't wait for inspiration. You have to go after it with a club. So for those that have not really caught this broadcast before, or you don't know even who I am or what I do, I had some friends who didn't really know for sure what it was that I did as a job. I do work from home. I am an editor. I do writing for people, whether they need it in helping develop their book, or if they just need some help polishing something they've written that they want to submit for an article, or they're doing a college paper, or they're trying to write some copy for their business, for their social media platforms. I help with all of that. But today I want to kind of dive into what it is that I do, what editors actually do for a living, because when people say, well, I need an editor, well, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you when you say, I need an editor? So just pop in the comments if you're here live. Let me know what you think an editor does. Good morning, Stephanie. How are you doing, my beautiful friend? Good to see you. Thanks so much for being here and supporting me on YouTube. You're drinking your last coffee before you head to work. Actually doing a sample pass today. Mask on and smiling with your eyes. Well, Miss Mary, well, thanks for doing that. You know what? Your eyes are just as beautiful as your soul, and we communicate a lot with our eyes. So I just hope you bring a smile to everyone's face that you see. Nice coffee mug, yes. And beautiful typewriters. I love old typewriters. And so I just had to have a mug like this. So when you think of what an editor does, tell me what you think an editor does. We know about newspaper editors. We also know that there's video editors. Well, what do I do as an editor working from home? Well, a lot of times what I do is I help people who are wanting to self-publish their first works, or maybe they have a story idea and a manuscript ready that they would like to shop to literary agents or publishing houses to find out if they can be picked up for traditional publishing. But the publishing industry has really changed in the digital world. Gone are the days where publishing companies pick you up and give you a large cash advance to let you sit in a villa somewhere while you write your story. That doesn't happen anymore, really. And most of the big publishing houses, when they do pick up an author, it's because that author has written maybe 6 or 7 books, and they know they have a built-in audience that they're going to sell to. So they'll sign them up for a year or two contract. But the publishing industry has changed a lot. Now that we can upload files to Amazon and hit send, right? So okay, Savannah, so they check for typos, layout, developing the overall book, like order of chapters. Yes, that is part of it, Savannah. Yes. Good morning, Victoria. Hello, beautiful friend. Look at that sweet face. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. So yeah, so besides just checking for your typos or correcting your grammar, a lot of times what an editor does is walk alongside the author and help them in the process of getting their story from an idea to actually out there in the world, whether they're publishing it on their blog, submitting it for an article in something that's published, or publishing your own book. Now, there are several different styles and types of editing that happens. Usually, a lot of people will say, hey, I need something proofread. Can you proofread this for me? And what they really need is a deeper copy editing, right? So the main levels of editing are, one is called developmental editing. Developmental editing is more of the big picture editing. We're going to read through your work to see if it's cohesive, it has a flow, it has a definite beginning and ending, it has a main point or a main theme that you've communicated in your story. If you're writing fiction, do you have rich, complex characters? Is the dialogue strong that pulls the reader in and makes them empathize or connect with the characters? So developmental editing is more of a big picture look. We're not going to go through with grammar. We're going to look at story ideas and flow, transitions, your voice, your style. That's what a developmental edit is. That's a deeper work on your manuscript. Once you get past through developmental editing, then you get to what's called copy editing. And copy editing is where we deal with things like sentence structure, grammar, syntax, verb tenses, active voice versus passive voice. We're going to look at all of those things. That's what a copy edit is. And that also includes, line editing. Some people call it substantive editing, but a copy edit is more of that kind of work. We're not going to go in and change your story ideas. We're not trying to change things that drive the plot. We're looking at the way you say it and making sure that that's clear and clean as much as possible, okay? Simplicity. You think you'd want an editor help you craft your words to a nicer flow. Yes, and that's what we do. So depending on the type of editing you need determines that kind of work. So a copy edit is not going to change any of your ideas or plots, themes, or anything like that. What we're going to do is just look at the sentences you have to make sure they clearly communicate what you're trying to say. That's a copy edit. Now, a proofread is different because the proofread has to do with the last stage before the book goes into publication and into production. So a proofread has to do with a manuscript being laid out, so it's already been laid out and formatted for publication. And now we're going through it to check for spacing errors, or a word being stretched too long on a line, or a word being chopped, or letters that are smooshed together. It's called kerning. We look for and we make sure that it's clean. There's no, lines that went down to the next page when they could have been a chapter break. Those kinds of things. We're looking for that so that the proof, because if you think about it, it's a proof read. So we're reading through the proof to make sure the proof is clean before we send it to the printer or, to Amazon or to Ingram Spark or other digital platforms that you publish on, right? So those are the different levels of editing, and they all require a different amount of time and a skill set to make sure. Now, there are people out there, you can buy them. There are software programs like Grammarly. There's others that you can buy to go through your manuscript and clean it up and edit it. However, you need a set of human eyes who has the experience to understand story flow and story content and the development of that to make sure it is ready for publication with traditional publishing houses or literary agents who want, you want to shop your manuscript too. You want to make sure that when you give them a manuscript with a query letter and a book proposal, that those have been crafted to appeal to the agent or the publishing representative that you're going to pitch to. So that's what I do. That's what I do behind this desk. And I help authors of differing levels on their journey to publishing their work. Sometimes I help self-publishing authors who are doing it DIY from scratch, and I'm walking them through the process to get their ISBN numbers. Are you going to market this book in mass to a larger audience, or are you just printing copies for your family and friends to have that you can have, personally to give to people when you speak? One requires an LLC formation, the other does not. So there's all kinds of things involved in the publishing industry, and that's what I try to do. I try to help people tell their stories. So that's a little bit about what I do. And speaking of stories, listen, guys, there have been some really interesting stories happen this past week. I don't know about you, but I'm always encouraging authors and writers, look around for inspiration, because there's stories happening all around you all the time. So here's some interesting stories that happened this week, and I'm sure you probably heard of some of them or saw some of them in the news. Some of them makes me have questions. I usually try to take a sip or two before I actually say anything, because it gets too difficult, guys. And I'm not going to have an argument on social media. Not on my page. If you want to discuss it with me, we can discuss it privately. I appreciate those who can maintain good comment threads without a bunch of kerfluffle, because I'm just not having that. But I also appreciate those who are willing to go deeper and go in context. So here's a story that came up that I was like, well, darn, here we go. Here we go. And this was kind of difficult because this brought up all kinds of thoughts. It created memes. Let me see if I can find a good link for this. I'm going to share this here on my screen so you can see what I'm looking at. And, guys, I have questions. So I want you to give me your thoughts, because I have thoughts, and yet I don't want to be the one. I just don't want to be the one. However, this one was really important. So how many of you caught the story about Saddleback Church and Pastor Rick Warren ordaining 3 women as pastors in his church? If you think you heard tiny screams off in the distance, yeah, this raised a whole bunch of fluff on social media. And it has to do with women teaching in the church, because there is supposedly scripture that talks about that. In 1 Timothy 2, verse 12, Paul is talking about women teaching. Now, again, I have questions, guys. Do you have an issue with women teaching in the church? Let's not ask whether or not we think it should. Do you have an issue with learning from a woman, learning scripture? Because I've had some really strong women in my life who have been some of my greatest mentors, especially in learning and studying the Bible. So I'm just curious, do you have a problem personally with women who are teachers? And do you have a problem with them being ordained? Because from what I understand in this article, it ordained 3 ministers on Mother's Day. And let's see, online message was given by Kay Warren. Although she is not among the newly ordained, her delivery of the Sunday morning message in worship was sure to further alarm the strictest of male leadership advocates within the Southern Baptist Convention, who insist women should not preach sermons to men. So I have questions about this because I also know that in a lot of Middle Eastern cultures, when boys reach a certain age, they also take this attitude with their mothers. So their mothers are no longer their mothers become like their servants. And I think it's the age of 12. And I used to see this play out a lot when I worked at the YMCA on how these young boys treated their mothers when their mothers would bring them in. So, first of all, I don't believe God fell off his throne when Rick Warren ordained these women. Just let's just start there. While we're down here nitpicking and it's straws and hairs and who should do what and who should teach, I don't think God is dethroned because 3 women were ordained as pastors. That's just my take, right? Um, you don't, right? You can't believe it's still an issue, right? And I saw one meme, and I was trying to find it online. I saw one meme that says, we can learn scripture from a cartoon tomato, but we can't learn it from a woman. So, I want to tell all these men who have an issue with that, well, then tell your sons to no longer listen to your wife. Because if women are not allowed to teach men, well, these are men in training. So they can't listen to your wife because she can't teach them scripture because she's a woman and she's teaching young men. So she can't be doing that. You have no problem learning from women. Women are usually the Sunday school teachers for all the children. Right. Right. But they're Sunday school teachers. They're not ordained as pastors. And I think that's what the issue is them being ordained in being a pastor. So here's the thing. You know that Saddleback is huge. It's a huge church. They have 15 United States campuses, 4 international campuses. The church counts more than 24,000 members and lists 18 campus pastors, all of whom are male. Because of the massive size of the church spread out over so many locations, no complete staff directory is published online. Petty. So Cynthia Petty, one of the women that was ordained. Her LinkedIn profile lists her as children's minister at Saddleback, where she has served since 1999. She describes herself as a minister in both of her LinkedIn and Twitter profiles. Her Facebook profile describes her as a pastor for pastoral care at the church. And then Katie Edwards serves as student ministries pastor. So are these titles almost administrative because in the structure of the church as a business, these positions are there to define the jobs of what these women do? I have lots of questions, but I also saw an interesting Twitter thread by a gentleman who gave some context to 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12. And see, this is why you need to have people in your life who can fill you with context for things that give you the bigger picture. It's what editors do when we're helping authors, is to step back from their manuscript and look at the bigger picture of the story, the message that they're trying to communicate. So a gentleman by the name of Ike Miller on Twitter, he said, why 1 Timothy 2:12 does not exclude women from teaching and preaching. In this passage, Paul was not limiting women's teaching, reasserting patriarchy, or establishing male authority. In context, Paul was dismantling all notions of gender hierarchy in the Christian community. In Ephesus, where Timothy was when Paul wrote him this letter, it was the home of the temple of Artemis, the great mother goddess. The Artemis cult elevated women above men because in their mythology, Artemis, which is the female, was born first, and then she helped birth her brother Apollo. When Artemis was born first, it fed a spirit of with Artemis being born first, it fed a spirit of female superiority in Ephesus, an aggressive feminism that led to women teaching in such a way as to exercise domineering authority over men, possibly even within Timothy's church. This historical context is important because the Greek word translated authority here, authentane, does not occur anywhere else in the New Testament. Sources outside the Bible used the word to refer to violent crimes such as murder, rape, or situations of exercising aggressive control. See, word study, when you understand how to look at context and how to look at word definitions, you understand and get a better picture. So the authority Paul is referring to is an aggressive, domineering kind of authority, not the healthy kind of authority spoken of when katakirui, katakiraiuio or exousia, that's an easier one, are used in the Greek in the New Testament. This was provoking an unhealthy, destructive seizing of authority by women, especially through teaching. Without going too deep into Greek syntax, and what I was talking about, syntax of language, when we look at what you're writing, we want to keep everything clear so that when readers read it, your message is not diluted or misconstrued in any way. So the structure of the sentence, neither to teach nor exercise authority, because that's Paul's specific words in there, can also be translated such that the second part is an emphasis and clarification of the first. In 2 Timothy 2:12, the kind of teaching is clarified by the second part, teaching with an aggressive, domineering authority. Paul is essentially saying, I do not permit a woman to teach in such a way as to exercise domineering authority over men, but to have a quiet demeanor. How many of you know very strong, very grounded spiritual women who teach in such a calm and easy way? I love Beth Moore. Beth Moore's studies are great. Beth Moore can be fiery. Joyce Meyer is another strong woman who is a great teacher. So Paul goes on to talk about Adam being created first, not Eve. The fact that the Artemis cult exalted women above men because they believed Artemis was born first makes incredible sense why Paul would make this clarification. In the face of aggressive feminism, Paul also clarifies it was the woman who was deceived, not the man. So unless Paul is entirely blaming women for the fall, it makes more sense that he is simply arguing a counterpoint to the cult that claimed that men were intellectually inferior. Finally, this context makes the most sense of verse 15. The Artemis cult believed that Artemis was the protector of women in childbirth. So Paul reassures that women will nevertheless be saved through childbearing. So what Paul says here is a truth that stands for all time. Any teaching that is intended to exercise aggressive, domineering, and coercive authority is to be condemned and disallowed. So, interesting, when you have context, when you have more knowledge to help you get a bigger picture of what's going on, it helps put that verse in clearer context. Because again, you know, a lot of people argue over this, and a lot of people split hairs, and a lot of people end friendships on social media platforms because they disagree on things like this. Really crazy. So anyway, I thought I would share that because, you know, it was huge news and a lot of people reacted crazy. So here are some other things that happened in the news, especially on social media level. So if you're not familiar with the app called Clubhouse, Clubhouse was finally made open to Android users, and it's only for the US right now. But Clubhouse is an app similar to, it's like, think of online live podcasting. Okay, so I'm gonna open my app. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but this is what the app's feed looks like, okay? And so you have all of these discussions that are going on. You know, I have 7 invites. But here you can, hopefully you can see the screen here. Did you see this? And there are all of these rooms where people are, you can jump in and you can have a conversation. See, there's 366 in some rooms, the sound spa, you know, and so this is going on worldwide. And so these are all rooms that you can jump in on and you can talk. You can either come up on what they call the stage to speak if you want to participate in the conversation, or you could just drop in and listen to some really great conversations by people around the world who are in business. A lot of celebrities are already on here. It's another way that people are connecting. So Clubhouse was only released initially on iOS. It has now been made available to Android. If you've not checked it out, kind of interesting. I've checked it out a little bit. I'm not trying to add more social media to my plate because, guys, I even got on TikTok finally. Got on TikTok. People were sharing TikToks with me, and I got tired of having to always go exterior and go outside. And so I downloaded it mainly to just learn how to use it and to see stuff on there because there are some funny things on there. You can get stuck in a rabbit hole. You guys, I'm not trying to add more social media to my plate, but I do enjoy checking out all of these new apps. So Clubhouse is new. If you're on Android, you can finally download it and check it out and just see what it's about. If you need an invite, let me know because obviously I have 7 and you have to be invited to the app. You can't just sign up for it. So anyway, Clubhouse, something new, something interesting. Now, here's something else that's interesting that made the news. So 2 different shows are leaving or changing. One, the Golden Globes, right? The Golden Globe Awards. And, we're probably going to see more of this happen. But the Golden Globes are being canceled for 2022. And, the Golden Globes was a big precursor to the Oscars. But the Golden Globes involves 70 Hollywood foreign press people who vote on things. There's not been a lot of diversity in the organization. They're having a lot of problems. There's been some accusations about that organization. And so, a lot of big media companies, Warner Brothers, Netflix, others have pulled away from the Golden Globes. Some celebrities are saying they're going to be returning their statues. It's an award show. And as COVID evolved and shut things down, what I believe is that which has shaken will disappear and that which is to remain will stand. So who's to say one less award show next year? I personally like the Oscars better. The Golden Globes are fun because they also have to do with TV and film, whereas the Oscars just deal with film, movies. But who knows? We'll see what happens. Another show that's ending is the Ellen Show. Did any of you ever watch Ellen? All the years, she's been on the air for 20 years. And so this coming 19th season that she's going to start will be her last one. And she's saying she just doesn't feel challenged anymore. Well, I don't know that it's probably, yes, she's achieved a level of success where she doesn't feel challenged anymore. But the world has changed a lot in 20 years. The world has changed a lot. There have been other shows. And now with live streaming, people have very successful shows live streaming that sometimes can compete with network television. So Ellen is going to be, going off the air and doing something different. And that's okay. That's okay. But I've appreciated, I loved her shows. I loved anytime she would have celebrities on and scare them or, or have somebody jump out of a box and scare them. I loved the scholarships that she gave to kids, the things she was doing to help people, ways to show up. Her Christmas shows were great. Kind of like Oprah's, right? So, and I believe one of her show episodes is going to have Oprah on it. And I'm probably going to talk about this, about being successful women on TV who've had long shows and what do you do next, right? So, what I'm really excited, you love Ellen, you're going to miss her. I know. I'm really going to miss her too. She's funny. She's funny. And, but it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully this will challenge Ellen to do something new. You used to watch her years ago. You think a lot had to do with the controversy she's been facing. Yes, she's been accused of bad, work environment problems. I don't think, did that ever happen to Oprah? I don't think that ever happened to Oprah. Oprah went out on a high and has created, she created her own network. She's created her own shows. She's producing stuff. So, Ellen's had some problems. And that's hard. It's hard when the media turns on you because once your reputation has been tarnished, it's very hard to come back. And so, yeah, I agree with you, Stephanie. I think that's been part of the problem as well. So, on a fun note, Broadway is back selling tickets to their shows that will be returning to the stage in September. This includes The Lion King. This includes Hamilton. This includes Wicked, shows that are coming back to the stage. And I don't know about you guys. I'm ready. I'm ready for some. I'm ready for small doses. It's funny, my yoga class has now increased in size. It started at 12, then went to 15. Now it's up to 18. They're slowly adding. I actually like that the classes are monitored for size. I don't know how they're going to do this with theater shows, but I'm excited that Broadway is coming back, you guys. Live entertainment, live shows, live music. I'm all about it. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for all of these people who work in the industry to get their jobs back. But I'm more excited about seeing new stories and great stories played out live on stage. So that's going to be fantastic. So I'm really excited about that. Also, really excited about this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. Guys, this is a very diverse crowd this year. There are more women in this group than ever before. So in the performance category, we have Tina Turner, Carole King, the Go-Go's, Jay-Z, the Foo Fighters, Todd Rundgren. In the musical excellence award category, we have LL Cool J, Billy Preston, the great Randy Rhoads. For early influencer awards, two of my favorite, Kraftwerk, Gil Scott-Heron, and somebody named Charlie Patton. I have to look that one up. I don't know who Charlie Patton is. I need to find out who Charlie Patton is because evidently he's being inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as an early influencer award. So, if you've never been in Cleveland, you got to go see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. These are the icons. These are the ones who've made their mark in history, in music history, that we have to enjoy. So, yeah, you need to check that out for sure. But the biggest news, guys, the most important news, I think, of the whole week, that was the most important thing, is now probably on me about it. Where is it? Oh, did I put it on my phone? Hold on. Oh, guys, it's the most important thing. The Friends reunion. Can we just stop and say that was the biggest news of the week by far? So the Friends reunion, May 27th on HBO Max. Now, people have been going back and forth. Is this going to be an episode where everybody's, or is it just the stars getting back together? I don't care what it is. The fact that all 6 of them will be together, I'm assuming with their significant others, so Paul Rudd better be there. But they have a wonderful cast lineup of people that are so, the guy that plays Gunther is going to be there. Mr. and Mrs. Geller are going to be there. Just, I can't wait. I'm super, super excited. Oh, I know, Savannah, I know you are too. I mean, I know where I'm going to be May 27th in the evening. So you'll be crying through it, I'm sure. I know, me too. But again, such a love show. And so important and in culture. Yeah, you're excited about the Friends reunion too, Stephanie? Maybe we should do a watch party, guys. What do you think? Should we do? Maybe in my VIP group, I'm going to have to do a watch party for Friends so we can maybe live post about, watching it. And so just know I'm going to be talking about it. What is that, the 27th? So just know for my show on the 29th, we will be recapping the Friends reunion. So just get ready because that's going to be an awesome show. Super excited about that. Well, guys, as always, I am trying to educate you, enlighten you, and teach you some things. So I'm going to give you this week's Hawaiian Olelo of the week. Because I am a Hawaiian girl, I love teaching you a little bit about my culture and giving you a word or some words to learn so that you can expand your vocabulary in all things Hawaiian. So this week's Olelo is kumu. Kumu. And kumu has a lot of different definitions, but there's a couple that are very important that are made. So the number one definition for kumu is the bottom, the base, foundation, title, like as to land, the main stalk of a tree, root in arithmetic, fundamental. So if you think of a foundation stone, right? So that's one definition. The second definition is teacher, tutor, primer, pattern, right? A guide. So a kumu hula is a teacher of hula dance. A kumu kui, which is a boxing teacher. A kumu kula is a school teacher. Teachers, foundation. Another definition is the beginning, the source of the source, origin, the starting point. Or it could be the reason, a goal, justification, motives, ground, purpose. Those are all of the different words. So for me, the definition of kumu means teacher, means a source or a point of origin in knowledge, right? That's what the kumu hula did is they were the point of origin, the source of origin for the knowledge of hula dancing, the mele chants, everything that communicated the Hawaii, because Hawaiians didn't have a written language before. Everything was oral tradition. So all of their laws, all of their stories were kept in the chants and the songs. That is what a kumu does. A kumu is a guide, a helper. And so that's what editors are. They're your guides. They're your teachers. They're your main source, your point of origin for information on how to tell great stories. So that's your word for this week, kumu. And I love, as your kumu, to share with you some great books to help encourage you, expand your reading. And we're doing one in the book club. So if you want to join the book club and get in on the reading of our story for this month, for the book that we're looking at, I'm going to put this up here. You can go to my website and you click on the box that says Through the Pages Book Club. You can get more information on how to join. But we are reading through Greg McKeown's book, Effortless. This is the follow-up to the book, Essentialism. And it's just a fabulous book explaining how once we strip away things out of our life that are the non-essentials and get down to doing the essential things, this book tells you how to do the essential things in an effortless way so that we're not stressed out, because Lord knows with the pandemic, with people being cloistered at home, having to work from home, do school from home, do everything from home, having no outside, it stressed people out more than they were when they were working. So what is that? If we're working from home, if we have the dream of working from home and being at home with our families, why are we more stressed out? Why is mental health now such an important topic that we are using it for the month to talk about mental health awareness? So part one of the book is talking about the effortless state. It's an experience that many of us have had when we are physically rested, emotionally unburdened, and mentally energized. You are completely aware, alert, present, attentive, and focused on what's important in the moment. You are able to focus on what matters most with ease. And so we read through that, and we talked a little bit about that last week in our discussion. In our discussion coming up, we're going to talk about effortless action. So what is effortless action? Well, effortless action means accomplishing more by trying less. Wouldn't it be awesome if we could accomplish more without having to work harder? And you stop procrastinating and take the first obvious step. You arrive at the point of completion without overthinking and overexerting. You make progress by pacing yourself rather than powering through. You overachieve without overexerting. I'm all about that. And in fact, as I go on vacation, on our family vacation, I plan to not overexert other than getting up and going to walk into the pool or the beach or the ocean and come back and sit down. So, but if you would like to join the conversation on this, definitely let me know. Go to RoneHarden.com/contact, join the conversation. We meet on Tuesday nights and have a wonderful discussion, and we are enjoying this. Stephanie, watch party for sure for shows. Oh yes, we need to do one. You're loving Effortless. It's been such a breath of fresh air and a new perspective. Yes, that's the whole goal behind why we read these great books. So we have two books that I want to recommend for you if you want to get them. One would be a great one to have for your kids, especially with school getting out soon. We want to make sure our kiddos are reading good books. Maybe you have them on a reading plan for the summer. Would be really great. But there's a great book coming out. I want to see if he's dropped it yet. It's called The Circles Around Us. Are you all familiar with Brad Montague? Were you ever familiar with Kid President? Well, he has a wonderful Instagram account and he does wonderful illustrations. And so let me look up. I want to see when the book dropped. Brad Montague, and his illustrations are so precious and so sweet. So this is a picture book. It is a picture book. It is in children's. It's in the children's literature category, but this is a debut picture book. It comes out on the 18th. Okay, so this Tuesday, that's what I thought. This Tuesday, the book is coming out. You can pre-order it now, but it's dropping this coming Tuesday. So the description on the book says, in the circles all around us, everywhere that we go, there's a difference we can make and a love we can all show. So this is the story of a circle. When we're first born, our circle is very small. But as we grow and build relationships, our circle keeps getting bigger and bigger to include family, friends, neighbors, community, and beyond. Brad Montague originally created circles as an Instagram video adorably narrated by his kids. Guys, go to his Instagram account, look up Brad Montague, Montague. Most of his stuff is narrated by his kids, which makes it even sweeter. So this picture book adaptation is the perfect way to start a conversation about how to expand our worlds with kindness and inclusivity, even if it seems scary or uncomfortable. This is a great idea for someone who's had a new baby, the first day of school, a graduation gift, maybe there's a birthday. So if you have someone who has littles in your world, this would be a great gift for them. So grab a copy of The Circles Around Us by Brad Montague. The picture, the illustrations are just so precious. And so you love reading and sharing with your great kids, right? So yes, so The Circles Around Us, Miss Mary, it's a great new book. Really excited about it. And it's Brad Montague's first one. So I love his Instagram account, and I think you will enjoy that book. So I'm going to be getting some from my friends, and thought I would share that with you to maybe you've got someone, especially with school getting out, with a lot of kids getting out soon. This would be a great fun read for them. Not just, to have in their library, and also just to read for the summer. So another one, since we were talking about controversy in the church, this book is called The Making of Biblical Womanhood: How the Subjugation of Women Became Gospel Truth. Now, again, we're trying to open up our minds and hear from different views on this topic. So the author of the book, she is Beth Allison Barr. She's a PhD at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. She is a professor of history and the associate dean of the graduate school at Baylor University, right here in Waco, Texas. She specializes in medieval history, in women's history, and church history. She's the president of the Conference on Faith and History and is a member of Christians for Biblical Equality. So you want to open up your mind a little bit to this to understand why there's such a tough discussion about patriarchy in the Christian church, and just to educate yourself on where people stand on this viewpoint. There's a book about it, The Making of Biblical Womanhood. So you can check that out and get a copy. Let's see. Oh, and I hear somebody knocking at my door. Does he need some help? Who could that possibly be? Do you hear that? Oh, he's so sad. Listen to him. Well, guys, as always, thank you so much. We always have such a fun time here in the morning chatting. I love getting to share stories with you. Some short stories and topics that kind of make you scratch your head. Others that make you go, why is this happening? But mostly just to encourage you that there are stories going around you all the time. You can be inspired to write your story. And so if you want to do that, or if you would just like to join the book club and read a great story, and connect with others who love telling great stories and appreciating great stories, again, go to my website right here at ronaeharden.com/contact. Or if you have a story that you need help on, Guys, whoo, I have been busy. I have been a busy bee lately here with helping some authors and getting inquiries and people asking and book launches. It's an exciting time in the publishing industry. You can be a part of it if you so choose to. So let me know if you need help or if you just want to brush up your language skills, get a little better so that you can post some effective things on social media. Either way, guys, remember our mission statement: drink coffee and make stuff up. That's what we do. We use our imagination to tell great stories. And I can't wait to share more great stories with you next weekend, live from the beach. I can't wait. I hope you'll join me. And more importantly, I want to thank you for being here. Those of you that commented live, that are here live, love you, my friends. Always appreciate you being here. And guys, I hope I see you back here next Saturday when we're going to continue talking about the best stories that are out there and inspire you to write yours. Okay? Have a great day. Guys, I'll see you back here